Okay, thank you so much for joining us again. Our question today is going to be very, very. We are going to talk real talk. But first, let's start with what's the most time-consuming part of recruitment that people rarely talk about?
I think it's filtering through the CVs, because most job postings you would receive 1,000,001 CVs for those adverts that you put out there. And you know how people that believe in that have a lot of faith, regardless of what their religion is, they can see clearly that they don't meet the requirements for this job position, but that faith is going to make them apply for that position anyways. So you end up having to filter through hundreds and hundreds of CVs, especially for positions that are not very specific, specified positions or technical positions, where, for example, you have an admin position where any and everybody can apply for that position. So I would say that is probably one of the most tedious parts, shortlisting candidates for the job position or job advert that you've advertised for. Yeah.
What's one of the most challenging recruitment situations you faced and how did you handle it?
Challenging recruitment situations, there's so many. Oh my goodness. There are so many, but I think from a business owner's perspective, I would like to look at it from the angle of disappointing your client, right? Because the client has paid you to offer a service for them. They've asked you to hire or to recruit a certain candidate for a certain position for them, and you have to deliver on that, especially if money has exchanged hands. So most times the difficulty comes where the candidates disappoint you. You're not in control of the candidates, unfortunately. You've put certain mitigants in place. You've put certain things in place to avoid clients or candidates rather disappointing you, or especially on the day of the interview. But the reality is that you don't really have control over these candidates. They do as they please. I don't know what the reason is. Most times when they come and they give you those excuses, as I like to call them, you find out that they're not really tenable. Like, are you really serious? Do you really want this job? Or you're just playing around? So I think one of the most difficult challenges I have faced, generally speaking, is when we've brought the client into the office, we've shared the CVs of the shortlisted candidates with them, and then the candidate does not show up. What would you tell the client if you were in my situation at that point? So a lot of times we've had to deal with those kinds of situations, and it puts everybody in a very uncomfortable situation because you've wasted our time. We've gone through the rigors of shortlisting you, pre-screening you, making sure that you do qualify for this position before you meet with the client. And then you've also wasted the client's time because the client could be doing so many other things outside of coming for this job interview. And we've insisted that the client comes for the job interview, right? So I think for me, that has been one of our biggest challenges amongst others, but I don't like disappointing clients, so that really gets to me most times. So that would be my biggest challenge, I would say.
What's the most unrealistic expectation a client has ever
had? There are many. Most unrealistic expectation. Number one, we need that candidate now. I give you a brief in the morning, I need to hire by afternoon. Very unrealistic. We've never gotten a job request that was not urgent. I say this over and over again. Every job request is urgent. And clients think that we're miracle workers and that maybe we manufacture human beings somewhere in our office, or we have like a pool of human beings just sitting down somewhere in our office, and the moment they call like a magic wand, they appear. So that is a very, very unrealistic expectation that many clients have. So we usually have to reiterate our recruitment process, timelines, and expectations with them, because they think once they've sent that request, they've sent the job description, they need that candidate like yesterday. And we understand there's always a sense of urgency. So we also, as a recruitment company, we try to put a sense of urgency with our recruitment process. But the reality is you're still dealing with human beings and certain things take time. And we like to get it right in the first instance. So we don't want to come back with excuses. So that means we have to do a thorough job for you. And so that means we need that extra 1, 2, 3, 4 days to make sure we're shortlisting the right candidates for you. Another expectation they have is the job description versus the salary. I'm sure I'm not the only one going through this. So candidates have a long job description. She must be this, left, right, and center. But I'm only willing to pay 50K. Yeah, it's a tough one. So the reason is usually because of budgetary constraints, maybe just not knowing that this is what the going market rate for this position is. So from an ignorant point of view, I would like to say, and then just being really stuck in your ways. Like the last person that held this position, I paid 50,000. So why is she asking for more? So those are some of the challenges we see. So our job as a recruitment company, as a human resource company, is always to educate and enlighten our clients. We show them what is tenable, what is best practice, and what other competitors are actually offering and doing. Because you want the best candidates, don't you? You want the high flyers. Those high flyers come at a premium. They are high flyers for a reason. So managing your expectations, understanding that we understand that they're budgetary constraints, but if you're willing to train these employees, then they might meet you where you expect them to meet you. But if you're not willing to train, then you have to up that salary, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Have you ever had to tell a client they were the problem?
What kind of questions are you asking me here today? You're trying to set me up. Have I ever had to tell a client that they are the problem? The answer is yes. I think you would get to a certain point in your career where you would understand that you can only be truthful. No matter how bad tasting or sour sounding that may come to you, it's the truth. Sometimes the client is the problem. And I've had to tell some clients the hard truths. Treating an employee like a family member is going to set you up for failure. It's just what it is. It does not mean you're being wicked or being mean or being heartless or being a slave driver, all these negative stereotypes that we hear. That's not the issue. But you have to be able to separate work from personal life. These candidates or job applicants or employees, they're not your family. You can't treat them like your family, especially in the domestic recruitment space. We see less of that in the professional recruitment space, but in the domestic space, she's just like my sister. She's taking care of my children, so she's my family. No, because once you start having those emotions, when that employee disappoints you, you're going to be heartbroken, and then you're going to come back to us. And then we're going to tell you, well, we told you so, which we've had to do a few times, unfortunately. So yes, I've had to tell clients that they are the problem quite a few times, more than I would have liked to.
What are some current trends you're seeing in human resource and recruitment in Nigeria or globally?
Some trends, some new trends, definitely the use of technology. More people are using technology for their recruitment. I wouldn't go as far as saying artificial intelligence, but yes, we're starting to see human resources delve into artificial intelligence to make the recruitment process easier, to get people management easier as well. A lot of tech now. So where people used to use basic work tools like Excel, now we're seeing proper softwares and systems for just human resources. They're even going as far as having software for just a specific item or role in the human resource employee life cycle. So this software is for just recruitment or for just filtering of CVs or for just onboarding. We're starting to see that happen globally. We're also starting to see negotiations happen more. We're seeing a lot of negotiations happen more, as opposed to before, where you come for a job interview that says the salary is 100,000. Now, candidates and employees are coming and saying, we saw that the job advert is for 100,000, but we're asking for 150,000, and these are the reasons why. So more people are becoming more bold, they're becoming more vocal and expressive in their demands and their desires. We're seeing a lot of that now.
As an employer, how do you train or mentor your staff to maintain quality and standards?
Well, leadership is by example. You know, I'm a high and strong believer in leadership is by example. You cannot practice something, you cannot preach something if you're not practicing it. So it's very simple. That's the truth. I use myself as an example. I am the standard that I want to see in my team. So without even talking too much, without even gathering them to say, hey, let's have a training, they see my work ethic every day. They see how I work. They see how I relate with even them. They see how I relate with clients, how I take client feedback, how I take customer complaints. They see everything, the way I dress and groom myself, the way I set up my office, the structures I've put in place, the policies. They see everything. So again, when I'm asking them to do these things, it's not because I'm being mean or I'm being difficult. It's because they can see that these are things I do every day. So again, I believe in leadership being by example. So it makes that training or passing that information to the team very easy for me because they see me doing it all the time. So unless you're just being oblivious or you're just being difficult or you just don't want to learn or you just don't want to grow, then if you are watching your CEO every day, it's something you should easily pick up without even being told because you're watching him or her doing these things every day. So it should also come natural to you. There's a Nigerian saying that says, follow who know road, right? So if you can see that this guy or this lady knows the road, follow them. And it makes your life easier. Yeah.
What do you wish more people knew about the recruitment world?
What do I wish more people knew about the recruitment world? Recruitment is difficult. It's also expensive. A lot of people think you can just pick up your phone and say, hey, Janet, can you send me an accountant? That works for some organizations, but there's so many reasons why that would not work, especially when you're thinking of sustainability. How sustainable is it for me to keep calling Maya, to keep calling Janet or Dami to say, hey, I need an accountant? It's not a sustainable business strategy, especially if you're running human resources as a business, right? Not that you have a human resource unit or department in your company, but even at that, there has to be structure. So a lot of people think it's very easy. Recruitment, is it not just to call one or two people? No, there's a lot of work that goes in the background. For example, verification and authentication of experience and documentation. It costs money and it costs time. Nigerians, we're very intelligent, so we know how to tweak our documentation without me saying too much. You know what I mean? We know how to maneuver the system, so to speak. So making sure that that candidate or that employee that I'm bringing to you is who they say they are, it takes time, it takes resources, and it costs money. So a lot of people think that that part of recruitment is so easy. After all, this is something you do. You should be able to just get it. Then getting qualified candidates. The key word here being qualified, because a lot of times Nigerians feel like there are so many accountants. So why are you finding it so difficult to find me an accountant? It is getting the qualified candidate that takes time. That is the hard part of the job, because now you filtered 1,000 CVs, and out of 1,000 CVs, you were only able to get 10 qualified candidates for the position. Now think of the time it takes to filter through 1,000 CVs for one position, and you have 20, 30 clients in line, right? You have a full complement of staff, so you're not short-staffed by any standard. But making sure that the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted is what takes time. And I think it's a mindset that a lot of employers or maybe even job seekers don't understand, that it is actually a very tedious process and a very expensive process to recruit. Yeah.
What keeps you going on the hard days in this business?
On the hard days in this business, I would say passion. I'm not here to lie to anybody. There are really hard days, and sometimes I even quit. I'm like, I'm done, I've quit, and then I come back 5 minutes later. It's the passion, it's the love for what I do. A lot of times we encourage people to turn your passion into purpose. And I think that's what I'm doing right now. I'm living my passion and I've turned it into purpose. So even when those hard days come, I just think about it like, but Bukky, this is something you really enjoy doing. This is something you were made to do or called to do. So just go ahead and, dust it off or shake it off, do what you need to do and keep going. Honestly, that is what works for me because I'm actually very passionate about what I do. But I think for other people, they might have other coping mechanisms to help them through the day. I can't speak for them, but I think just remembering that I'm doing this for a reason. I like to help people, and I remember that doing this job helps people. It puts food in people's mouths, it puts food on their table. That makes me so happy. So when I'm stressed and frustrated, I just remember that, Bukky, you know what? By the time you finish or close on this deal, a family is going to be better off. They're going to have food on their table. And then that gives me joy. So I just keep going at it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Madam, for joining us.
Thank you.